All right, so welcome to this program. I'm excited to take you through this. So this video is going to cover approximately 1 hour, and we're going to cover some things that I'm confident will help to enhance your skill set for doing oral boards. So I'm Josh Wells. That's a picture of me down there with somebody that I helped do their promotion. And so that's one of my greatest contributions and things that really is why I'm doing this video and I've wrote this book, is because it's really rewarding to help somebody, to show them this proven path, and then to kind of help them as they do it, and then to see them be successful. I'm only a guide. I can't walk the path for you, but if you're willing to trust the process, if you're willing to do the work, there's a lot of people that this has worked for, and there's going to be many more that follow. So this is your proven path to your fire department promotion. And if you haven't got a copy of the book, what I'm going to share with you is in the book. But the book offers a comprehensive approach. And so I'm going to get right into what we're covering here, is that I wanted to start off by kind of putting the right framework in place and setting the frame for this video and this program. So my promise and challenge to you is that if you commit to going all in with this program, if you commit to giving this next hour of your life to trying this out, to doing the work, and to following what I share with you, I can guarantee that it's going to have a positive impact on your next promotion, on your preparation towards your next promotion. What does that mean to be all in and to be dramatically committed? So there's 3 commitments, and this is in the promotion playbook, but here it is. So focus on the promotion should be your primary focus getting ready for this. Part of this specific part of today's training, it's all about covering your speaking skills and developing your ability to speak well for oral boards. It can also be used for presentations, and there's other components of the assessment center that your speaking skills will help you. The 3 parts of commitment are your time, your money, and your effort. So if you're in this program, you invested a little bit of money to get in here, and your money alone isn't enough. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm honored to have you here. Just realize if you spend the money but don't commit the time, and you also don't commit your effort, you're probably not going to see the best results out of the program. So what I suggest that you do, so if you're listening to this and you're driving, or if you're listening to this and you're doing something else, my invitation to you would be that you show up, maybe pause it, or at least listen to it, then commit to coming back to it later, is that you commit to giving this 1 hour your complete attention. So your time, your money, and your effort. So you can show up and just kind of passively listen, or you can show up in the following way. So this is how I encourage you to show up. You set aside the time so that you block this time off so that you're not going to get distracted. Make sure that the kids aren't going to come in, that if you're on shift and you get a call, you can't really control that. But other than that, you go and go to a space that you're not going to be interrupted. Ideally, you can go to a space that you're going to share this with other people and make it a group activity, as long as the focus of that group is directed towards this same thing. Then print out the worksheets. So the worksheets that I'm going to share with you are all attached to this program. So if you can either follow along in the promotion playbook. So if you have the promotion playbook, you can do that. If not, I've provided links onto this. Either send them, they're either on this page with the video, or I've sent them out previously. So if you don't have those links, or if you don't have the book, it's going to work best if, as we go through this, you either have them printed out, or you at least have them pulled up on your computer so that you can reference them. And then if you don't have access to a printer, you can just reference those. And then I'd encourage you just to get a tablet that you could write with, because the exercises that I'm going to share with you they're basic and they're simple enough that all you need is a pen and some paper, and you could write these out. So I really encourage you to have them available to write out. If nothing else, just have a piece of paper with you and a pen, because that's part of showing up and showing up fully. If all you do is passively listen, the chance of this helping you is going to be a lot less than if you're committed, you give your full attention to this program, which is investing directly into yourself, and you're sitting there writing notes. Because if you're engaged and when you write things out, you get engaged with the content. I just don't want to listen. You don't want to just listen, but it's designed to be this interactive process where as I share something, you're also taking notes and you're writing so that you can put this into action. It's not going to do you any good. The promotion playbook is designed as a tactical workbook. And so this program is really going to help you to put a lot of the pieces together with the primary objective is that you're going to be a lot better at doing oral boards. I know a lot of firefighters that struggle with oral boards, and this is how I'm going to help. So the framework we're going to cover here is that there's some different tools that I'm going to share with you from the promotion playbook that's going to help with your oral board, develop the skill set for oral boards. And I'm going to show you what to do after it. So in the video, I'll introduce you to it. You'll have the awareness, but then I really encourage you to set aside the time to follow up and to do the work after. This is something that comes from Russell Brunson. He's the starter of a program called ClickFunnels, and he's got a lot of great books in terms of about education and training and teaching and influencing others. And he's done really well at that. So if you'd allow me this space, I'm going to give my introduction. I'm going to tell you the strategy of what we're going to cover. I'm going to cover the tactics, the tactical piece of what we're going to get into. And then I'm going to share some case studies of why this has worked for others and how it can work for you. And I look forward to creating more. I'd like you to be the next case study of testing at the top of your list and getting your promotion from it. We like to see people test at number 1. We're also very happy with anything in the top 5 that leads to a promotion. Again, it's going to depend on the size of your department, but if you can place in that top 5, that is usually a great place to be for your promotion. Now, that being said, I'd like to see you get a successful promotion, yet my greatest desire is just to help you grow and develop so that whatever it is that you're called to do, wherever area you're called to serve, that you can do that to the best of your ability, whether it's your family, whether it's the fire department in your current role, whether it's a project you're doing. This is all about growth and expansion. It's not about stagnation and just sitting in that recliner for 20 years waiting to get your pension. So this is the, I'm going to close out this one now, and then we're going to start getting into the content. So that's the framework we're going to cover. There's going to be a lot of pictures that I'm going to share with you. And then also, if you haven't done it yet, access the PDFs that you can print out, or you can also reference the promotion playbook. You can buy promotion playbook in ebook format. So if this is your first introduction to it, you can go to Amazon and buy the Kindle version, and then you can just scroll through it that way is one way to do it also. But I've made a number of ways that you can access this content. Okay, so step number 1 is here's the story of how I learned it or I earned it. So here is, this goes back to, I kind of prefer the picture I showed you at first where I was in my formal attire with my captain bugles on, and I had helped somebody promote, and it looked a lot more formal and professional. But for here, we're going back in time to the age of kindergarten. That is me with my hands in my pocket. That's my older sister, my older brother, who works as a fire captain for Flagstaff Fire. Look real quick. I think he gave a testimonial towards the book because the content I'm going to share with you helped him to promote to the company officer level. That's in Flagstaff, Arizona. He's one of the people that really inspired me to do this book because he was a mentor of mine ever since I was young. I looked up to him as my older brother. And he'd been in the fire service for a lot longer than I had, but he just struggled to get through these oral boards. He couldn't talk about himself well, and he struggled to brag about himself. But with the tools I'm going to share with you today, he got made to the position of company officer. He tested great on the list, and he's now a captain. There's several other case studies in here of people that have been successful doing this, and I look forward to yours next. That's my older brother, Zach, my older brother Aaron, my sister Kim, and that's me right there. And so why am I showing you this picture of me as a young boy? So there's me as a young boy. And here is I'm going to share with you a little bit later, is that these 5 questions that help you to structure your story. And so here was my my struggle, which led to my desire to create and to share this program with you. So me, there I am, that little boy, and I think I was about 5 years old at the time. And what I wanted most as a boy is that I wanted to connect with other people. I wanted to make friends. I wanted to do well with school, whatever that meant for kindergarten. And I wanted to belong. So inside each of us is this sense of wanting to belong. And I wanted to feel understood, that I could communicate with my siblings. I could communicate with my friends and my peers. And I guess I wanted to belong and be accepted. Here's the problem. When I was like this small, I talked funny and I was shy. And I wasn't the best at social situations. Is that I was kind of shy to make friends. And part of that shyness stemmed because I had a speech impediment. You can still see parts of it here, that as I speak, I don't think I'm the best at somehow there's some development with my mouth or something, that I don't speak the most clear. And my voice has a certain resonance to it that even though I've worked on it a lot, it was something that I struggle with. And so there I was, this little boy. My parents sent me to a speech class, and I was at this speech therapist, and my speech therapist ended up she was trying to work with me, and she pissed me off, and I think I ended up hitting her or something because I got mad, and then I got kicked out of the class. And so this was kind of an embarrassing experience for me. It was humiliating. It's not something I'm proud of, hitting my teacher, but I kind of think she was asking for it because she was pushing me about my speech and it wasn't working. And so I always struggle with stuttering, and even my siblings, I loved them, but they'd kind of mess with me. And it got to be kind of this thing is I struggled to speak well. So fast forward is that how did I fix this problem so that now I can share this video content, and hopefully that with my level of speaking, this message is going to resonate with you and you can hear it clearly. So what I found out is that the only way to get better, it does help to have the right teacher. So if you know that teacher, I don't remember hardly anything about this, but I apologize. I was learning, I was young, I was growing, but I've learned that great teachers are very helpful. And also that for repetition and then time under tension, meaning that you have to get uncomfortable. So here's how I've progressed and I've gotten to a point. So why is all this relevant? This is all tying towards oral boards. Is that even though I sucked at speaking as a boy, I'm still not the best at speaking. It's something that through repetition, through time under tension, which means getting uncomfortable, doing stuff that's not comfortable. I've done a ton of public speaking, and in just a minute, I'll tell you all the stuff that I've done to develop this kind of a weakness that I feel that I've grown quite a bit in. Repetition and time under tension. And that's what I'm going to invite you to do if you struggle at oral boards like so many of firefighters do. They just kind of struggle to be like, how can I share all this great stuff that I have? Like to get in front of people, and this was my struggle then, is like, I'm feeling all these things. I want to share this stuff, but I just can't connect with other people. I just can't say what I'm thinking and have them understand it. Like I would say one thing and whoever I was talking to there'd just be like this disconnect and I couldn't do it. And so if you've ever had a really bad interview, you probably have an idea of what that feels like, because you're sitting there and you're like, look, I've got all this time in the fire service. I've done this project. I've done this. I've done that. I've got these credentials. I've got this training, this education, this experience. But the oral board is just like falling asleep, or they're not getting it. They don't understand. And so your solution and the solution that I'm giving you is, one, I'm going to be your guide for this, and promise not to make fun of anybody that talks funny. But then two is I'm going to give you the opportunity to practice repetition, to do this over and over again and to practice this. And then also time under tension is I'm going to share with you some opportunities to get uncomfortable that are the follow-up programs to this video. So I've created some programs that can stimulate this stress in advance so that when you show up on game day for your test, it's not nearly as stressful. So I've actually done pretty good with oral boards. I've tested a lot to get in the fire service, and then for my promotion, I share my story at the start of promotion where it wasn't really the best story. There's a couple of promotional tests I didn't do well at. But that being said, I've almost always done well with oral boards. So for me, oral boards were not were more of a strength for me in terms of promotional testing. So I can speak even though I had these things to overcome. This is I've done a lot to improve it. So I've had a speech coach. I've done a ton of CPR trainings and first aid trainings, along with a host of other fire service and technical rescue trainings. And so teaching all these classes has helped me to speak better publicly. I've got 3 college degrees. I've got tons of personal development courses. Some of the big brands you might recommend is Wake Up Warrior was recent, Landmark Education, Tony Robbins, the Armiger Institute. I've been a facilitator for them. I did some medical training for Tony Robbins events, and I was part of the crew that helped with all of his big events. Landmark Education, all sorts of these growth courses, which public speaking is a big part of those, and sharing among big groups of people, which then translate into being able to speak well in an oral board. And then I've done a lot of stuff with CPR. I've spoken at Fire Rescue International, EMS Expo, several other local and state EMS conferences. And then I was promoted to captain back in 2016, and I placed number 1 on that list. So that just says why did I tell you all that? There's my story of how I learned it, and I earned it. So I've paid the price, and I come back to share this with you. So not so much to talk about me, but I just want to reference here is the endorsements page. These are a list of people that I've been able to share this with. And many of these people, some of them have been my mentors or my guides or my friends, but there's a lot of others here that have applied what I share with you and went on to get their promotion. So next part is what is it that what is the overall strategy here? So that's why it's relevant. Now we're going to talk about the strategy and then the tactics, and then I'm going to share with you in depth some more of these case studies, specifically one that just happened recently. And then we'll move on to, I'll share with you some opportunities to get involved in that next level if you're interested. So the strategy is, I'm going to share with you some pictures, and I'm going to reference other pages in the book for that. So for page 22, I'm going to give you the overall strategy that we're looking to accomplish here. So this is the foundational piece of your development. So the overarching strategy is I want you to develop the best story that you tell yourself and others. Story represents your beliefs and your worldview. So when I talk about story, it's about developing your beliefs around the test, and more specifically is that what are the stories that you're going to use when you for your oral boards. So we'll cover how you can create great stories to share for your oral boards and how to kind of clean those up so that they follow a specific structure. Next, we talk about the strategy, which is this is the overarching strategy is that you have a story, you have your 7 strategies, which is covered in the book, and then the skill set. So more specifically, the strategy is this path to promotion, which is on page 103 of the book. I'm going to show you this picture here. So this is where we want to go. So this is the ultimate outcome, is that you're here, and I would like to give you the map, show you the path. If you're interested in more support on the path, I have some other resources to help guide you. But ultimately, I want to share with you how I started here and I reached a successful promotion, and how I'd like to show you how to get here using this plan. That's the strategy as you apply the 7 strategies to navigate your way to the top of your promotional test. And for this, that's a 90-day plan, but for here, it doesn't necessarily have to be 90 days. Then the next piece is the 1 target and the 4 skills. So the strategy is designed to give you the mindset to get to that top of that mountain. And then the up here is, this is the skill set, also called the tactics. So the 1 target is get your promotion. This is your target. The 4 skills that are developed in the promotion playbook: study skills, speaking skills, writing skills, and application skills. So these are the 4 core groups of things that you have to address. So I mentioned in the book how I failed assessment centers in the past. When I did that, I'd say probably my weakest area was the written test. My application of the hands-on knowledge was pretty good. I'd mentioned even though I started young, not speaking well, I typically do well with oral boards. My writing's pretty good because of my college education, but written test, a couple of those tests I didn't prepare well enough for that. Also, some of there's been the goal here is that you have a comprehensive approach to your promotion. So those are the big categories: study, speak, write, apply. And we're going to get into those specifics in just a minute. Specifically, we're going to focus on the speaking piece, and I'm going to give you frameworks based on that. So that's the one target. You just think one target, these skills, and then under each of those skills is these sub skills, which I'm going to take you down to the game day toolkit, and you'll get to see all the smaller pieces of this. So here's the game day toolkit. This is the toolbox. So these are the specific tactics that you can apply. And I encourage you to add your own. This certainly doesn't include everything, but there are some great tools in here that you can use. So study skills, speaking skills, writing skills, and application skills. So think of all these four pointed towards you getting to the top of that mountain. That's where I would like to show you where to go. Specifically, we're focusing on oral boards. So here is speaking skills. And so under speaking skills, we have the four categories of oral board questions. I'm not going to cover that on this video, but it's in the promotion playbook. The point of that is just to recognize how to place these questions and be prepared for these four different categories of questions. The home run oral board question guideline, that's a good one to practice as you're answering your questions. I'm not going to cover it in detail here. We're going to jump right down to this oral board prep sheet. So I am going to teach this one, the oral board prep sheets. And that's one of them that I've given you access to, that if you don't have the book, you can access it. Ideally, you have it printed out and it's right in front of you. Or this, we're going to cover the unspoken art of the oral board. And then we're also going to go down here and use this story blueprint template. So the way to tell a good story is to get the right structure and then rehearse it and get the details and get it smooth. But if you follow a structure, it really helps. So there's a really great book that I'll mention on that. In case I don't mention it later, if you go to Audible and you look up the book, it's called The Hero's Two Journeys by Vogler. I think it's Michael Vogler is one of them. And I'll put it up at the end of this. But The Hero's Two Journeys, it's only an Audible. It's an audio course. And I highly recommend it to best understand story structure. So going back to here, these are the tactics. So the four parts we're going to cover is we're going to cover how do you organize what you're going to say? How do you organize what you're going to, sorry, my hands. How do you organize what you're going to say? And then what do you say? And then how do you say it? And why does it matter? So this is the tactical piece of what we're getting to. Now it's time to get to work. I've showed you the story. I'm showing you this overall strategy, and now we get down into the tactical pieces, which we're going to spend the rest of this hour focused on. So the oral board prep sheets helps you organize it, makes your bag of gold that you're going to give to the panel. The blueprint template is what you're going to say. It kind of helps you to structure your story, as I said. And then the unspoken art of the oral board is how you're going to say it. It matters how it's actually more important. It's more important how you say it than what you say. So we're really going to emphasize this nonverbal communication. And then finally is know your why. Why does this matter? So why, what's your purpose and what's your heart? Because if you're speaking from your heart because you care, because you're passionate about this promotion and you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into it and you've done the work, you should be able to speak from a place of purpose and passion and enthusiasm, as opposed to if you haven't, then you're going to be speaking from, you might not be speaking from the best, the greatest. So if you want to go ahead and access, we're going to go to this speaking skills, and we're going to jump to this oral board prep sheet, and this is to organize all your information. This is one I'll probably spend the most time on, and we're going to go to page 204 in the book, or you can access the sheets. So here's an explanation of it. There's three main parts that you have to organize, that you have to be able to speak to. You have to know yourself, you have to know the position, and you have to know the department that you're testing under. So know yourself, know the position, and know the department. The metaphor that we use is this guy over here that has a bag of gold. These are your three areas of gold that you're going to bring in to the promotional test. So you find these nuggets about yourself, the knowledge, the training, the experience, also any personal stories that are relevant towards your test, and you shine that up so that you can give it to the oral board and purchase your promotion. You need to have all the stuff that you have relevant to the position, your knowledge, your competence, your experience, and have that all ready so you can give it to the oral board panel. And then you need the gold about the department. What's the mission, vision, values, culture, current events, things like that, and how do you refine that so that you can buy your promotion. Promotion, so think about this. If you promote in most departments, there's going to be an increase in pay. And that increase in pay usually goes up over the years. So I'm not going to say that your biggest motive should be money, because you should be motivated by things other than just money. That being said, the cost of your promotion, the cost of your performance for your promotion can mean thousands, tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars over the span of your career. So if you still have a lot in your career left, you get promoted, you can move up that advancement in pay. And then if you still have a pension, or if your state has a pension, that's going to affect your pay for the rest of your life. So I'm not saying it's the most important thing. It's not, but it is something. And don't deny looking at the monetary benefits of your promotion, because it can be something that motivates you, not your primary motivation, but money does matter. So this is what the template looks like. So the three big areas is there's a page for self. There's something for self. Got to get my hands up. So self, position, department. There's a page for each of those. Then under each of those, there's three areas. There's facts, there's stories, and there's goals. So for your facts, you want to get the facts relevant towards yourself, position, department. And then for the stories, I'm going to help you to how to create your stories. How do you come up with the best stories, again, that are relevant towards the position and the department? And the goals. It's helpful to have a vision of the future. The book of Proverbs, it says, without a vision, the people perish. So if you don't have a vision for the future, then it doesn't make you the best person to fulfill that role. So here it is. So this is the first page. It's the self. So the way it's designed is that there's a page for self, there's a page for position, and there's a page for your department. So the way that it works is that you individually fill out this page, one for self, one for position, one for department. And then the last page is you take the best, you kind of refine what's the best pieces of gold from these three and put it onto one sheet. So I'll show you that real quick. If I can make this a little bigger here. So here's the self prep. So self, know yourself. What are the facts? What are the stories? What are the goals? The position, facts, stories, goals, and the department, facts, stories, goals. And then the last page is this one-page script for the oral board, which summarizes yourself, your position, and the department. So the way this is designed is that you should give a lot of focus towards your the way that this is designed is that you spend a lot of time on each of these individually, the self, the position, the department. You put a ton of content on there, but before your oral board, you want to be able to put it onto this one page. And that way, if you go, you check into the oral board, and before your interview, if you're sitting out in the lobby, you can pull this up as long as you're allowed to bring some paper in, and you can just kind of review what your main script is going to be. And this is like the refinement of your of what you want. So again, the metaphor of gold is you're kind of going, this first part is a refinement process. You're either digging it up or you're panning for it. Once you get the gold, then you want to polish it up and clean it up and refine it so it's as pure as possible when you go there and you bring it all down. It's almost like you distill it down or refine it down. And so it's just the purest form of it. And you have these like 3 to 5 things for each category. So ultimately, you don't want to have like overwhelm of content, and you don't want to spew, you don't want to overwhelm the people with the oral board with all your information. You want to refine it so that you just have, so let's say for self, you have like 3 to 5 main facts that you definitely want to get across. Remember, it's more the how than the what. So you want to have, if you can really expand 3 to 5 facts, that's going to be plenty. For stories, anywhere from 1 to 5 stories that you have about yourself that's going to be relevant towards your promotion. And then it goes the same for here. So the number we shoot for is like anywhere from 1 to 5. It's better to have 1 that's like a really great, really reflects well everything, than it is to have like 25 and just try to shotgun approach the oral board. There can be pros and cons of each, but my generally my recommendation is to keep it simple. So I'm just going to cover I'm just going to cover this with you real quick, then we'll move on to the next piece of it. So here is so for the self prep, you have your education, your training, your experience. So what's your education, what's your training, your experience. So take time. What's your formal education? What kind of training do you have? And what is your experience in the role? The more specific you get, the better this will be. So details matter, and the more specific you can get. The way this is designed is that you can influence people by 2 means. One way is logical. The next way is emotional. So the facts get the logical part as to why you're the best. So you have the logical with the facts, and then the stories give you the emotional, personal connection. So facts and stories, that way you're hitting the logical, you're also hitting the emotional with stories, and then the goals is just showing that you have a future plan. So you're not just looking to retire just so you can get into a new position and then become lazy and ride out your career not contributing anything. So facts, stories, goals, education, training, experience. Stories is personal values, unique life experience, and others. So under self, it's good to share personal stories. The key is you keep them relevant, you tie them back to the position and to the department, but don't be afraid to share a personal connection. Everybody that's on that oral board is human. They all have their own fears and insecurities and stories and unique pieces of their personality. And so think of some things to share from your personal life that are going to make you a more well-rounded candidate. They don't want a robot to come in and say how, they just hit all those marks, but they talk like a robot and don't have a personal life, or they haven't had any challenges or adversity to overcome. If you're able to share something it's good. So 2 examples of personal stories is, one is like a major adversity that you faced that you've grown from, like a loss of a loved one or a major setback in life, or something that makes you kind of vulnerable, but you use that to become a strength for you. That's a really good personal story. And then another one might be something that you're really proud of, that maybe it's a big goal that you accomplished, or something in your life that you were really, really proud of. And that way you can kind of share the pain, and then on the opposite end of something that you're really happy with. It could be part of the same story. Maybe it started as like something really painful, and it ended up becoming one of the greatest gifts in your life. So just realize the more that you can connect with the pain and also the pleasure, the happiness, the joy, the better off you're going to do with the oral board. And we're going to talk about that in the last piece of this video. So I'll tell you how you can expand that so that you can create an emotional connection with your audience. And then your goals, quarterly goals, 1 year and 5 years, is that what are your goals? Like, why do you want to promote? What are you going to do when you get in the position? Nobody wants to promote somebody that's going to get lazy and not do anything afterwards. The position. So what are the essential duties and responsibilities? Make sure that you understand the roles and responsibilities of what you're testing for. What are the skills required for that position? Is it people skills? Is it hands-on skills? Is it conflict management? Is it report writing? What is the core skill set of that position? And then the facts is anything else that's relevant about that position. Your stories is that your experience that's relevant towards the position. Have you acted in that position? What life experiences has helped you to develop into that position? So specific, your experience in the position, or relevant experience that would make you good in the position. And then what is your life experience that would help you to ensures you're going to be great? Like say you played sports and that taught you teamwork and leadership and work ethic. And that's going to help with the position because you've helped to be part of a team, and through sports you develop that. Or community projects or whatever else. Stories and then anything else. And then again, the goals is the same: 90 days, 1 year, 5 years. The department, the facts is the size and call volume, the budget, the history, anything else. So current events is a big one for here. You can put up here with the facts is that what is a big current event that you're working on or that's happening with the department. Next is stories, mission, vision, values, and the culture. So what are the core beliefs and the culture of your organization? If you're able to work the mission statement, the vision, the values into your answers, it's really going to help you understand that you're a good fit, not just for the position, but also for the bigger organization as a whole. And then the goals is strategic plan or projects. Your organization should have a plan in place for the next 5 years at least, and you should be aware of that, as well as any projects that it's working on or that are happening, and how you can help to advance the organization, and not just talk about yourself during that entire oral board. You want to have this bigger picture of how it's relevant towards not just the position, but also the department. Also, any current events, this can go here, it can go with the facts, either one works. And so here it is. So you're finding that's it for this. I'm not going to keep talking on that. So next we're going to move on to the story blueprint template. This one's actually really exciting if you start to practice it. And again, the book that I recommend reading is The Hero's Two Journeys. They take the work of Joseph Campbell, who wrote a lot of, I think he studied mythology and he became a really great writer. He wrote the original The Hero's Two Journeys. The book The Hero's Two Journeys is from these two Hollywood directors and screenwriters. So they've written many great Hollywood movies, and they tell you the structure of a great story. And that is what I've used to create this. And it's actually up here under the writing. Sorry, it's down here under the writing. So here it is, and this explains it. So here is the 5 elements. So I've kind of simplified it. So if you want to expand it more, I encourage you to read that book or get it in audio form on Audible, The Hero's Two Journeys. You can also buy the CDs if you go to eBay, but Audible is an easy way to do it. And so it's basically is just like, how do you structure a story? Because if you structure it, then you can really expand it. But if there's no structure, you're just going to kind of bounce around and not tell a great story. Stories are extremely important towards oral boards because they personalize your content, but then you can also interweave facts into your stories so that you can get all the information that they're looking for and tell it in a story format so that it engages your audience, and they can actually, at some level, ideally you can entertain your oral board audience and get the highest score. So like I said, you connect with them emotionally, and you're going to do better. You're not just going to be able to show up and speak like a robot and do well. So here is the 5. So who's the main? So who, where, what? So it's 3 W's. Who, where? Oh, I'm sorry. Who, where, want. Who, where, and want. It's a little play on words, but the key here is what is the desire, and that's what the want. So who, where, want, problem, resolve. Why these questions? Well, first off, the who and the where sets the setting and the stage. So you kind of, with your words, you're gonna create a setting, and you're kind of setting the stage, or you're getting the show ready on Netflix, and you got the screen, the background, and the props, and the costumes, and the uniform. Is that, and the character. So the who is the person. There's a lot you can dive into in terms of creating the best character. A lot of times it's going to be you and maybe whoever else is involved in the story that you're sharing. The other one is where. So what's the setting? So I mentioned that you do the setting, and then the want is what does the character want? There's a need and there's a desire that the character wants. In the Heroes 2 journey, it goes into depth about there's two things that they're after. There's a external desire and there's an internal desire. So the external desire for you is that you want to successfully promote, because that's going to mean more status, more pay, more advancement in career, probably make your family proud, and whatever other type of tangible benefits. That's the external desire, but there's likely an internal drive that's actually much stronger and runs much deeper than just these external results. So I'll explain that with an example down below, but just think about it. There's probably a need or a desire that's within you that goes deeper than just getting that badge. You probably want to grow, you want to contribute. Maybe it means that you'll get more status at work or with your peers, or maybe it means that you'll get more love and connection from your family, or that maybe you'll finally feel like you belong because you were successful at this promotion. Regardless of if it's love or if it's status, those are two main human desires. We all want to be loved and we all want to feel important at some level. And we also want to grow and expand and to give. Those are a couple more. Those are the internal desires. I want to promote because of this, but underneath there's this internal growth. And that's really where my hope for you is that through this program, you're not just going to get the badge. I would hope that you get the badge, but not everybody promotes. My hope is that you grow and expand and become the best version of yourself through this process. And that's really what we're after here, is that you get the external result, but more importantly, you get that internal transformation and become the best version of yourself for your family, for your loved ones, for your crew, for the community, and for the legacy that you're working to leave behind. That's the want. So who is it, where are they, and what do they want? The problem is that conflict is what builds the story. So people need conflict. That's why stories need problems. You need problems. If you don't have problems, your life is dull and boring. And if you don't have any problems, you're probably dead. So life is full of drama. Life is full of conflicts. Life is full of problems. And we never say we want the problems, but problems give us the opportunity to grow and to expand, and they create emotion. So you give the conflict the problem so that your audience can relate and they can feel. People want to feel. They don't want to just be, like I said, robots. Like, people want to be felt. They want to understand at a heart level and not just speak from the head. So don't get out of your head. There's a saying is, if you stay in your head, you're dead. So don't get too heady in your oral board thinking that you have to be a certain way. Be yourself and be able to speak from the heart of who you authentically are. When you do that, you give those watching you permission to be human themselves and to express that within themselves. So you do that through expressing conflicts, vulnerabilities, problems that you face and overcome. The final part is, what is the resolve? So problem and solution, conflict and resolve. So this is where you tie it back in. And then the big part of this resolve, the big part of the whole story is, why is this relevant? Like, how does this become relevant towards your test? Who, where, want, problem, resolve. Here's the example from the promotion playbook, which is part of why I put the 7 strategies in story format, is that I hope it's going to connect with you at the heart level, or at least stir up some type of emotion as you're reading through the story. Who, Firefighter Jake. There's some things about this firefighter is that his external desire is to promote. His internal is he wants to make his father proud because his father was the fire chief, and his father's always been a mentor to him. And there's part of Jake as a man that doesn't feel like he's the full version of himself if he spends his 20-plus year career only working as a firefighter when his dad was the chief. And so there's this internal desire of him. He wants to make his father proud. He wants to make his family proud, and he wants to have that love and that connection, but he also wants the importance of knowing that he can give and serve his community at the highest level. And at some level, he is he's only able to reach that so much in the firefighter position. He does a great job, but there's certain limitations that come with the lack of the rank. He can never go from firefighter to chief within his organization, and there's just a lot of things that he feels kind of restricted to as a firefighter. He works in a place called Canyon Fire Department, which is something that's made up, but it's kind of loosely modeled after some of the departments in Arizona. He wants to be successful at promotion and follow his father's footsteps. So I mentioned that already. He wants the status, the pay raise, the rank, but underneath, he just wants to make his father proud is a big drive for him, which would then in turn for him mean that he would be loved and accepted, because at some level he might feel that unless he's able to be successful, maybe he's not going to be loved and accepted by his father, or at least not make his father as proud as he could be. Whether or not that's true, that's kind of the struggle that Jake's dealing with in terms of his desire. At least I'm hoping to portray that in the story. And so here's the problem, is that he wants to make his family proud, and he wants to be successful, but he sucks at promotional tests. And regardless of his past attempts, he's done a ton of work for the department. He's got 15 plus years career. He's got a great family. He's a community member. He's got tons of experience, but he keeps not being able to promote. And even worse is there's people that he's grown and developed that are now promoting past him. So he's had guys that he took through the fire academy. He's been their mentor. He's brought him into burning buildings. He's talked him through challenging medical calls. He's been on extrications where he had to kind of show them what to do and pretty much take charge of the scene. But when it comes to promotion, these guys or girls are passing him up. And now he ends up working for them, which is just kind of a bittersweet for him. He's glad that he can help him grow, but he also wants to be successful. So the resolve and how does it end? So for Jake, he finds a mentor. The mentor helps him. He gets there, but not without a lot of refinement. He hits this, he crashes one more time in the story. And then if you haven't read the story, hope I didn't ruin it for you, but there is some adversity and some setbacks that he has to face. So he doesn't just hey, I got this book and I got this program, it's going to be an easy ride. This is not an easy ride. Promotional tests are hard, and the promotion playbook can be your guide. It's not going to make it any easier. If anything, it's just going to bring the hardness more up front. So that my hopes is that you can face the hard stuff now and develop yourself in advance so that the promotional test ends up being easier for you. The more stress you can create now, the more time under tension, the more sets and reps, the more discomfort you can get used to, the better off you're going to be. So anyway, here's the story format. I'm getting a little carried away on this one, but I really like how this flow works. I'm really passionate to share it with you because this is how you write. So first thing you do is write it out. So if you have it, once this is done, take the time to write it out. Who is the character? Most of the time it's going to be you. Oh, and let me show you this. So here's some examples of the stories that you want. Why do you want to promote? What have you done to prepare? What's your life experience? What are your strengths, your weaknesses, a role model, a time you had to overcome adversity? So here, let's say a role model. So let's go with Jake. The character is Jake, and in this small town that he was born and raised in, and it takes place in the town where he's working. He's been part of that community for a long time. He always wants to follow his father's footsteps because he's seen his father be this great role model for him. The problem is I guess Jake, it's been a struggle for him to reach that same level in his career. And his resolve is that he found a mentor and guide, and he developed into the position, and he's fully ready to promote. So he gets his promotion. That's real quick. So for you, just think of a lot of times you'll be the main character, but if you're dealing with a conflict with someone else, you might introduce other characters that you have to interact with. Where does it take place? Well, again, the hero's two journeys. Enough on that. We're moving on. So the unspoken art, it's how you say it. So I'm going to keep this to an hour. I'm going to briefly cover this, and then we're going to, I'm going to leave it the rest of you to actually fill these out. I hope it's helpful. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So this is a really important piece of your oral board is you need to practice doing stuff in front of the camera. As I'm recording this, I'm looking at myself speaking, and even though I've done this a lot of times, it still makes me uncomfortable because I'm sitting there looking at myself, and we tend to be critical on ourselves. At least I do, is I tend to be critical, and sometimes, it takes some getting used to see yourself speaking as you're talking to someone else, as you're recording. But the more you get comfortable with that, this is what we have, technology. Technology is a great thing for us because it allows us to get these steps and reps. It's uncomfortable. You get the time under tension, but I can watch this afterwards and I can evaluate myself on how I'm doing with the nonverbal communication. So actually, if you have the sheet, it's down here. This is just a one-page sheet. So if you have it, the explanation is up here, which explains in details, but basically it's a scorecard. So you record yourself like I'm doing now. And for now, if you have the scorecard, use it. If not, just use this and go ahead and evaluate me on my nonverbal communication. And we'll go through this together. So the first impression. Uniform, grooming, and posture. So how is my uniform, grooming, and posture? 1 is a slob, and 5 is professional. So look at my attire. I'm in a t-shirt, kind of relating to my audience. How would you rate this? Go ahead and do it with me. And then I encourage you to record yourself and then do it with yourself so you can learn which areas you're going to change. So what's the first impression? Now, what's my face? So what am I doing with my face? What's my forehead? What am I doing with my eyes? Are they all over the place, or are they looking down? How is my eye contact with the camera? Hopefully with you. And then my mouth. Am I smiling, or am I like frowning? Like, what's my facial expression? 5 is expressive, and that's the highest. 1 is just flat, monotone, and boring. My voice, or your voice when you do this, is it monotone in crappy volume? So it's volume, variety, and speed. Or are you singing? The best speakers in the world sing. If you want to look up a great example, look up Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream speech. He does a great job of voice projection and everything else. He's a great speaker. And also look at Muhammad Ali for another great example. As long as anybody else, Barack Obama was exceptional at speaking. And there's tons of these great speakers which you can model so that when you're in an oral board, realize this nonverbal stuff really, really, really matters. It really, really, really matters within the first about the first 30 seconds of your interview. The moment you walk in that door, which is this first impression, if you look like a slob, it's going to be hard to overcome. The opposite of that, if you look up, your shoes are shined, your uniform is pressed, you got everything in alignment, you got a fresh shave, you've got you're looking sharp, you got a smile, you come in enthusiastic and energetic, yet professional. That first 30 seconds makes a big deal. There's one thing from The Wolf of Wall Street. His name's Jordan Belford, the guy in real life. He does a sales program, which it's pretty good. There's a lot of things I took from it, but in his sales program, he says, you want to be enthusiastic as hell, sharp as a tack, and a force to be reckoned with. So he shares his program he used in that movie. He claims that he's more ethical now. The movie, his ethics were in the toilet, but you can't deny his ability to sell stuff. And an oral board is nothing more than an oral that you're selling why you're the best person for that position. So you want to be enthusiastic as hell, sharp as a tack, a force to be reckoned with. You do that with your voice, and then this is the use of space. So I've got this little box I'm operating in here, but this is my use of space, and I'm hoping to engage enough body movement that you're engaged with this. I got this nice colorful t-shirt, which 11 Summits. If you check it out, it's a great, really long, challenging hike for the nonprofit CASA. So it's a great nonprofit CASA. I really like the shirt. Words. So is this random babble? Am I babbling on and just talking about nonsense? Or is it sniper focused? Clear, concise, compelling. So your language has got to be on point for that oral board. You want to talk the talk and fill all these others out so that your nonverbal communication is really on point. I really hope that my voice is coming across well. I have this professional microphone that should make my voice quality sound well, but I'm using this new video software, and I don't know if I connected the microphone. So if my voice quality is not great, I apologize. Hopefully it's all still coming across great though. So the final piece is get back to our layout here, is why does this matter? This is quite possibly the most important piece for you to get down. But I waited till the last part because I wanted you to understand that if you don't have like a heart reason why, it's something that's really going to be hard to overcome. So if you're not like passionately committed to why this matters, you might not do the best. And it's kind of hard to do. So I'm going to go to page 115. I'm going to briefly cover this, and then I encourage you to read it and dive into it, because this is one of the heaviest pieces of the promotion playbook. The goal is to engage that feeling, connect with you at the heart level. I'm actually just going to go right to the exercise. So this story, it kind of tells a heavy story of how Jake goes on this hike, and during the hike, he kind of faces this darkness, and he faces this anger, this hurt, this sadness, and this grief, and he processes all this heavy emotion. And he doesn't do it to become a victim. He does it because he realizes that that heavy emotion is actually there to serve him and to guide him if he can just direct it towards what it is that he wants. So he faces the dark, and then coming down, he finds the light. So he lets go of the darkness that doesn't serve him, but he also found part of himself that there's a fire within him that he had made wrong that he was able to access, and now he has power from the dark. But then he also has the light. So he also discovered on the way down, the light represents the joy, the happiness, the positive feelings, and he learns on this hike to both do the positive and the negative. So I encourage you to get the promotion playbook and read through this piece of it, because if you don't understand that part of it, you risk the chance of this exercise being somewhat superficial. And there's a big depth to this exercise that you have to understand. So finding your why is not a real simple process. And the point of this video is to bring awareness of it, and just realize you're probably going to have to do this exercise again and again and again until you're just clear, like something's going to pop and you're going to be like, this is my big emotional reason. We look at emotion in two components. We have the light. Put the light over here. This is the light. This is the dark. On my wedding, not to say anything bad about my marriage is going well, but we'll say this is the light and this is the dark. So light here, dark here. And you need to harness both of these. Another way of saying that is both the pain and the pleasure. What's the painful experiences that you can harness? And then what is the pleasurable things that you can be happy about, enjoy? So there's two things. If you can harness the pain and the pleasure, they'll kind of combine to create a good, strong reason why you're taking this test and why it matters at a heart level and not just this head level surface things that don't really matter. So in order to do that, we look at 4 different areas. So actually, I'm going to bring up this visual real quick that's at the start. So the 4 different areas are faith, family, finance, and fitness. Kind of look at 4 areas of life. And to find your why, it's more than just your promotion. There's going to be an impact to your faith. It's going to affect your fitness at some level. It's going to affect your family at some level. And it's going to affect your finances. So what is your reasons, both the good, it's not so much good and bad. It's just more, I don't like to label it as good and bad. It's just more darkness and light, or pain and pleasure is another way of looking at it. And expand this out. So think about your performance on test day. There's going to be a drop in a pond, and it's going to expand out. And there is more consequence, for better or for worse, to your test than just you. So your results are going to leave this wake, this echo that's going to go beyond just you. And if you succeed, you're likely going to feel better about your faith. It's going to help your fitness and your well-being at some level. It's going to make your family proud, and it's going to help your finances. If you fail, by failure, I mean that you fail to give it your best effort, and you just show up and bomb it, then it's likely going to hurt. And that pain may serve you in the next test, but in the meantime, there's going to be that defeat. And that defeat is going to not make you feel the best about your faith and your values and your deeper spiritual beliefs. It's going to affect your fitness with some stress. It's going to have it can potentially negative impact your family. At least it's not going to be the brightest thing. It's going to be adversity to overcome, and then your finances. So I encourage you to go through that chapter and then read this, do this exercise. Again, you don't need to read the chapter, but I encourage you to get the book and then go through this chapter, and it's going to explain it right now. I've given you the link to it. You can get the book on Amazon. If you don't have it, it's going to go into more depth onto how this would be applied. But if not, you've got this tool. So with the tool, you just write it out and think about who else stands to benefit. You got to be willing to play full out. So we just went over an hour. So do that on your own. And there is other videos that I have that I talk about this. So keep in touch, and I can send you other videos that explain this specific tool in detail. But I didn't want to do an oral board program without addressing the importance of having this heartfelt reason why. Because if you didn't do anything else, but you had this burning desire as to why this was so incredibly important to you, that alone could drive you to your success, because that's going to give you the reason to study, speak, write, and apply. It's going to give you the fuel to stay up late studying, to get up early, and to do the work. But if you're not really committed because you're like, I don't know, I just want to get some more money, that's not going to, so I'm only going to go a couple more minutes, just a little bit longer, but say that you have somebody that's like, I'm committed because this is life or death for me. I'm giving it my all, and I have this burning desire because when I get to the position, I'm going to take on this project. I'm going to change the fire service. I'm going to lead my crew. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You take that person that has this burning desire and this strong why. Also, they also have this pain, like, if I can't stand the possibility of failure. If I fail, it's going to mean this deep-seated pain. My family's going to be hurt. My finances are going to be hurt. And uses this pain to serve them. So they've got this burning desire that is a mix of pain and pleasure, and this light and this dark and this joy. And you take it against the other person that's like, yeah, I'm just kind of doing this because I think I want some more money, or I'm ready to get off of the ambulance, or I just want a little bit something new. You put those two together, and the person that has this burning why is going to steamroll right over this other person, because even if that other person has more experience, because your enthusiasm and passion is going to exude in that oral board, probably in everything else too. So to bring it all to close, this is probably one of the most important pieces, but we're going back to this framework here as to, so what's a case study? So again, I'm going to just bring up the endorsement so you have the visual, but I wanted to tell you the story of, so there's some other case examples that I've had. Again, this book stands, it's not just about me, it's about those other people, it's about you. If you apply this, and if it's really on your heart to promote, I'm creating this for you. And I look forward to you being another testimonial or case study. And I'd be happy to be there for your promotion and see your family there smiling and being like such a great experience to be there to get your badge pinning. You got your family and your friends watching, your crew, and all those that helped you along the way and that you're going to help moving forward. It's a great experience. So I recently helped this firefighter. I'm not going to say his name, but he's a firefighter who had been with, I'll just say it, has been in Sedona for quite a while. And he really sucked at oral boards. He had a great work ethic. He had a lot of good experience. Tactically, he was really great. Had a good background in the fire service, had quite a few years on, but he was testing for this promotion. And several years ago, he tested for the same promotion. I got to work with him like a couple weeks before that promotion, and his oral boards, they sucked. And we worked on them for like a little bit. We didn't go as in depth as you are with this program, but like we did a couple mock oral boards, and they weren't great. We refined them a little bit, but he still didn't test that great. So this round, he's like, it's going to be different. And so he committed to doing this program. And what he did is that every day he got on this Facebook group, which I'm going to create one of those. That program should be available now. I'm going to make it available to you, where we get in a Facebook group, and I put you in a small, there's going to be a bigger group, but then I'm also going to put it in a small group if you choose to do the program, in a smaller group where you just have a smaller interaction. And what he did was every day he got on and did a video live. It was just in the group. It wasn't across all of Facebook, but he just did it in the group. And last year, COVID hit, all this stuff. So they had this testing process, and the testing process got on hold. But even though the testing process, most of the guys who were testing were like, screw this. I got all this other stuff to do. Every day, I saw him on there. And he kept doing it. And he kept doing it. And he kept doing it. And it was just like this game of consistency. They weren't great, but again, he would check it. And I didn't check everyone, but if you do the program, I check in on most of these videos and I get feedback. The nice thing about doing it on social media is you get that and then people can comment. So ideally, you got a group of friends and they're, or a group, not friends, but a group of people that are committed to your growth. And you do a video where you share yourself like this. And then underneath, they're like, hey, really good job at this, but maybe you could have better eye contact. Or, hey, really good this, but, you might have to go get a haircut for the oral board. Or really good at this, but you need to speak louder. Like, they can give all this comment and feedback, which is really great. I love being able to help people that way. So he kept doing it every single day. There'd be days that he missed. Stuff would come up in life, but he was consistent, and that was his strategy. Just like it is with this proven path to promotion, is that this is not a home run strategy. We use the metaphor of a home run in one of the templates for an oral board, but the overall strategy, it's not showing up and like all of a sudden getting the secret and doing great at your promotion. No, it's more of this climbing up this mountain. Let me show up the strategy one more time for this mountain path of this is the daily work, and this is the most important part of your preparation. Every single day, at least 5 days a week, maybe 6 days a week, take a day off once a week. You just do the work just a little bit at a time. Do the work, and eventually, step by step, you're going to be at the top of that mountain. What you don't want to do is cram one day and then forget about it for 3 weeks, and then cram a day and forget about it for 3 weeks. So this firefighter I helped, he kept doing this, and when it came to the promotion, he did extremely well, and he got number 1 on the list. He did great. It's super awesome, and he's such a great guy. I'm going to start doing these recordings where I share these victories and what worked for him, because it wasn't just this program. Although this did help him tremendously, he was able to do a lot of stuff, and he walked the path. He did the work to get there. Slowly, small, consistency. He got to the top of that list, and he just got his promotion. Now, another firefighter reached out for help also, and I invited them on the same path. I said, here, specifically, this actually has happened with a number of people, as I say, hey, this is all you got to do. Join this Facebook group. I'll put you in it. And I want you to put a video, do a 2-minute video every day and answer an oral board question. It doesn't matter what the question is so much, but just do a question. A lot of times I give the questions to follow, but I said every day, just do it. And get used to talking, because oral board's all about talking. Plus, when you do it when others are watching, you can simulate that stress. And you're sitting there watching yourself talk, and a lot of people, it's like, I don't want to watch myself talk, because you get all critical in your head and screwed up. But if you can't do that, you're not going to do well on an oral board. So, the other people didn't. They chose not to do that consistency, and their results showed. So what you do in your preparation is going to be revealed on test day, for better or for worse. This is like, it's almost like this mountain over here is not something that others see until it's time to step up during test day. It's like a lot of your work, what you do in the shadows is going to be revealed on test day. So you almost think about this mountain as like, think about maybe the mountain's covered in clouds, and on test day, the sun's going to come out and reveal where everybody's at. You don't rise to the level of expectation, you fall to the level of your training. So thank you for watching. If you made it to this point, thank you for your commitment to yourself in your preparation for this test. Again, I hope that you got value, and I can speak with absolute certainty that if you apply these tools and consistently do this work, so everything, the path is laid out in front of you to get better at oral boards. If you print these out, I recommend making multiple copies. And if you get all this stuff ready, I guarantee it's going to help you. if you apply the other 7 strategies, you're absolutely going to give yourself the best chance at promotion. And stay in touch with all the other resources because I'm continuing to put out content. I've been doing recordings on this on YouTube. I've got social media. I've got the podcast for Promotion Playbook. And then I'm also developing programs to better help guide you on this journey. So stay in touch. And I'm curious to see what's working for you, what's not. And I love to connect and build this community so that you can join the next level of people that can say how well this worked for them. Thank you, and I wish you the best of luck. So finally, the takeaway, just print these out and keep practicing, and we'll stay in touch.